As we brave a tower and fight hordes of demons and other creatures, we come across a desire demon. This isn't plot specific, but it shows that the world of the Fade, or at least of demons, are a diverse bunch. In order to create believability in a work of fiction, especially fantasy and science fiction, you need details. This is a good lore or world-building inclusion, as it shows there are more than one kind of creature in this magical world, and they're not all initially violently hostile based on their nature. In a stretch, we could call this foreshadowing for what we have to deal with later if these events occurred first before the ending of Redcliffe. Unfortunately, these choices have no bearing, or no one in our party has any memory of when we deal with the Desire Demon later, which is a lost opportunity to connect world building with one's choices. The next demon we encounter throws us into the Fade, so now we're in a dream world, the fantastical place where reality isn't real, and yet it is. This is usually a bad idea in stories, but because we have established that demons can come from the dream world, and they've now taken over the physical location, the reverse is at least somewhat believable. Now, a story can do many things in a dreamlike world. Have insights into the character's mind, their feelings, their innermost desires, their fears. All this can be made manifest, but instead of illuminating the protagonist, we get a few nodes on a map where we kill some obscure versions of emotions that don't really apply to our protagonist. It's a madhouse, really, a pastiche of what might be inside these people, or rather what's inside our side characters. They're almost misinterpretations of memories the characters have or desires that they imply they have. It's as if the story is assuming things like we want bloodshed when arguing with Duncan after becoming a Grey Warden because we don't agree with the dream version of them. Now, that's a fair statement because we don't want to slaughter people and we can make that choice. But unfortunately, this is where the story breaks down. You don't need a dream world to explore a person's innermost thoughts. Additionally, the gameplay also breaks down. It's a somewhat difficult and maze-like level where you transform into a mouse and a spirit, a burning man, and a golem. It's kind of silly and convoluted. It's hazy, it's fuzzy, so much that someone actually made a mod to skip the Fade. Now that's kind of curious since there are several permanent bonuses to one's stats that you can get in the Fade if you into that sort of thing, but going through this crazy dream world provides no real character development I can see, no depth of meaning in any of the side characters, just twisted versions of what they might be feeling or might be fearing, with the obvious realization that it's not real. It's all delusion. And even if there was an arc of someone challenging themselves that they had to go through, it's still all just a dream. It's all made up. Nothing can be achieved here. And if you were to wake from this nightmare, let's say by conquering your inner demons or whatever, I guess in some sort of mental combat, it still doesn't amount to anything. It's like having the story of Alice in Wonderland. You go through that, you listen to it, you read it, you watch it, and then you then tell the story of her getting older, or what she's changed, how she's changed as a result of that. It just doesn't really work, or it's an entirely different thing. Now, unless you like the idea of crazy scenario design and fuzzy filters, then you might actually like the idea of a bunch of golems beating the crap out of each other.
Charming.
So, we slay the sloth demon, keep walking around the real world, find some guy named Cullen, and finally get to a cutscene of a guy forced to become an abomination, and this is due to Uldred.
Oh, very observant. Uldred? He is gone. I am Uldred, and yet not Uldred. I am more than he was.
This is corny dialogue without being too bad. It's very melodramatic and a sub-boss character. It's very silly. Combined with the music, it sounds like a perverse version of a Harry Potter scenario.
Maker's breath. I did not expect to see you alive.
Uldred.
I'm sorry, Spike, I couldn't hear you there. So we ask for help, and we're back on our way to Redcliffe.
You have been waylaid by enemies and must...
But before we get into a fight, we get a cutscene with Tim Curry. While Loghain is busy looking into the flames so the Lord of Deus Ex can give him some guidance, Tim suggests this Antivan Crow assassin fellow go and kill us. And Loghain's like, yeah, sure. This magically updates our codex with Zevran, even though he never mentioned his name in the cutscene. There's no combat here, we just encountered some people sending a message to the Chantry in Denerim. So we finally make it to Redcliffe Castle, get the ritual started, select Morrigan to go into the Fade, and she remarkably has nothing to say. She just goes along with it. There's no backtalk, which is Very surprising considering it's Morrigan. She beats up the Desire Demon because demons are bad, and because we don't have as many options as if we were playing as a mage. We then get a cutscene of Redcliffe lighting corpses up on boats, and then talk to Tegan again.
Connor is his old self. He does not seem to remember anything, which is a blessing. I suppose we will need to send him to the Circle of Magi's tower for training once the war is over.
Why didn't you send him to the tower right now? They're right here. Did they just leave? Did they not have anything to say to us, or take the kid under their wing? Just, yeah, bye, later. I mean, do they seriously want to go through this whole process over again? What means that this kid is now free of demon control? Now, Eamon's sickness is the only problem we have to solve. We decide to go on a crusade of potentially finding a cure-all artifact from the ashes of a dead woman, which is rumored to heal all ailments because this guy won't wake up. Okay, I mean, we just had the circle here help us with the ritual to get inside a boy's dream landscape and fight a metaphysical battle, and we won. We spared Joan's life, who poisoned Eamon, yet he offers no help to cure the guy. So instead of getting help or getting research from all our magical sources like the entire Mage Tower, like the guy who did the poisoning, like the giant Tower of Magical Knowledge, we go on a legendary quest to find a rumored cure-all. This is kind of weird and kind of stupid. We, or Joan, don't even know what the poison was used, whether it's magical or whether it's empirical. It's telling us we have to go on a journey to God knows where, to a place no one has ever really been to or has any real information over, on the hope of a rumor there could be some ancient relic of the world's religion that can cure any ailment.
I feel terrible about this.
No.
So we leave the castle and get another cutscene with Tim Curry.
It's gone exactly as you...
I would like to know what you intend to accomplish, Father. Should we not be fighting the Darkspawn instead of each other?
The nobility should be brought into line and then the Darkspawn defeated. This is no true blight, Honora. Only Kaelin's vanity demanded it be so.
Beg pardon, sire. But blight or no, we may not have the manpower to face the Darkspawn soon.
Kaelin approached your legions for support, did he
Never!
not?
Marek and I drove those bastards out! We'll not roll out the welcome for them now!
We need help, Father. We cannot deal with this crisis alone.
Ferelden will stand on its own! I will lead it through this, Honora. You must have faith in me.
Did you kill Kaelin?
Kaelin's death was his own doing.
This scene is very curious, or at least on the surface it's a meaningless scene. What Loghain may be referring to here are the Orlesians, or at least the Orlesian Grey Wardens. Loghain was instrumental in stopping the Orlesians from taking Ferelden, so naturally he's biased against that whole country. Now, Tim Loghain nor Nora don't state this, though. We don't know what he's talking about, which makes the scene look like Loghain is just pissed off because he wants to corral all the nobles and to give him support to fight the Darkspawn. Loghain believes in the problems of boundaries with Orlais, or borders, and sees the Blight as a fantasy, or the Darkspawn as just a minor nuisance. This is not a real Blight. This could explain why he retreated from Ostagar and decided to lie to the king and everyone else at that time.
Did you kill Kaelin?
Kaelin's death was his own doing.
While that may be true, it may also be true that if Loghain didn't retreat, Kaelin may still be alive, and of course at the cost of several, if not many, of his men. Now this is kind of confusing because it doesn't quite explain or show how Orlais is a huge problem. Why did Loghain do all this? Are the Darkspawn just another random enemy for him to defeat? And he felt Kaelin was getting wrapped up in fantasy and heroism? And if so, so what? If Kaelin fights and wins wars, isn't that good for the country and also for protecting the border from Orlesian influence? Was not Loghain involved in 3 battles that they won against Darkspawn? Why the change of heart? This is one of the main problems with Loghain's motives. The story isn't telling or showing us what the big deal is with Orlais, and how that impacted Loghain's choice to not help at Ostagar. Did Loghain feel fragile or weak if he engaged with his armies at Ostagar on the sheer chance that if Orlais would get involved or even invade, he wouldn't be able to fight them off? And if so, where was this threat? Without a real threat from Orlais, Loghain doesn't even look like a past heroic usurper. He just looks paranoid, haunted by the horror he went through with his time under King Marek.